Another example of media manipulation, I gave one earlier this week. This time it's been revealed by Germany's Bild magazine. You look at this photograph of apparently starving people in Gaza desperately reaching out for food. There's also video of that same sad scene, except a shot of the photographer who took that pic show they are posing for him. They're not reaching out for food. Not yet, that the food came later. That photo, like the misleading picture I showed last night of an allegedly starving boy who had in fact had spina bifida and other pre-existing conditions, and a plump brother next to him, was put out by the same anti-Israel Turkish news agency using a photographer from Hamas-run Gaza. I mean, Gemma, isn't the media here just too gullible about how a terrorist-run area can actually manipulate the imagery?
I think what we're talking about here, Andrew, is an historic issue with most of the media in relation to the state of Israel, and that's just committing modern-day blood libels. And I used an example in my weekend column in The Australian about an image that went viral on social media and was picked up by many mainstream media, CNN included, of a very distressing image of a bunch of young women, young girls actually, who were deceased. And the headline that went with that image said, you know, starving girls starved to death in Gaza. That was in fact a picture of young girls who were killed by the Assad regime during a chemical weapons attack in Damascus that had been originally published by National Geographic. Now, this is just one example of dozens. In the context of the current situation in the Middle East, it's important for people to remember that many things can be true in tension at the same time. Today I read a statistic out of the United Nations where it admitted that 90% of its humanitarian aid had been looted by either very hungry Palestinians or or Hamas or Gazan gangs. That's the first thing. There is a significant issue with access to aid, the aid that is being provided by the United Nations that this government refuses to talk about. The second thing that is also true at the same time is that the media has been allowing itself to be manipulated and telling half-truths about the situation in the Middle East. And the third thing I should say is that when it comes to playing the media game and publicity and having a strategy to influence, the Hamas terrorists are playing an absolute blinder. And we who sit here on the other side of the world in our safety, knowing nothing about existential threat, you know, the biggest threat most of us face is, you know, getting hit by a car if we text while crossing the road. I've been in Israel many times, as you know, Andrew. I've been in bomb shelters. I've been in the Gaza envelope, and I know exactly what Israelis feel like, knowing that they are surrounded by people who want to wipe them off the planet simply because they are the Jewish state. So I don't think it's as simple as there's one fake photo, although that's a really, really critical part of the mix that is constantly ignored.
Well, that's the thing. It's a willingness to believe a particular story and being totally gullible as a result. To the point, of course, Christy, where the Prime Minister is obviously working towards declaring, recognising a Palestinian state, even though one half of the Palestinian territory is run by Hamas and the other half is run by a kleptomaniac who's in the 20th year of a 4-year term and doesn't believe in the existence of Israel either, and thinks that Hitler didn't kill the Jews because he was a racist, but because Jews were moneylenders. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, our government has used incremental language over the last few months, and part of that is, one, not rebuking the Allen government here in Melbourne when we saw those terrible protests, terrible outside the NGV, protesting against a really prominent Jewish family who have done so much for the city of Melbourne in healthcare, in arts and culture, the Gandel family. It is absolutely disgraceful that they were not rebuked federally by all their colleagues in federal Labor, and put that together with the previous activities that we have been allowed to go in Melbourne, marching in the streets and so forth, these ongoing protests, government seemingly turning a blind eye to Semitic activity until it's escalated to the point of what we saw outside the NGV. And that, together with the government's incremental language around recognising a Palestinian state, and they're hiding behind that the two-state solution has always been the policy of successive governments of both sides of politics. But there's ways that you can talk about that two-state solution, and the language has escalated certainly around, well, we don't need Hamas to give back the hostages. We don't need them to meet conditions or demands. It is about recognising the state of Palestine, and there is no way that Ed Husic, despite being dumped from cabinet and again hiding behind this, I can do what I like, I'm not bound by cabinet confidentiality. There is no way that such a critical former frontbencher and a highly identifiable Labor MP would be out there protesting across the Sydney Harbour Bridge on the weekend if the Prime Minister had not expressed internally that this was the policy decision that he was comfortable with. And Penny Wong would not have spoken as she did today.
I mean, what are they going to recognise, Andrew? Are they going to recognise a state where women don't have the same rights as men, where gays and minorities don't have any rights at all, where if you're a woman and you want to get divorced, you have to pay for the privilege, where you're a child, you are brought up on a dialogue and on an educational curriculum that says that Jews are the enemy, where they have a pay-for-slay policy, where if you are a martyr and you blow up a bunch of Jews, your family gets a pension for life. They're going to recognise this, and it is a stain on our nation. Every Israeli I know wants peace. Every Israeli I know wants a two-state solution. But not like that.
Says, I'm not going to let Hamas take this state over. What's he going to do? Send Australian troops to stop them?
What a rubbish thing to say, as if he's got any influence at all. The thing about it is this, it's cowardly. It's cowardly.
It is cowardly.
Yeah,
Gemma
it is,
Tognini,
and politically motivated.
Thank you very much to you both.